Okay, I'm back. My iPad is doing weird things. Um, what I was hoping to do, what I will continue to do, is to sort of give you, again, an example of how I would like your paper to look like. And so if you were applying war rhetoric as a genre to Obama's um, uh, discussion or his remarks about Libya, obviously first paragraph, again, would be contextualize what was going on in Libya and everything like that, and then offer some sort of thesis about how you think Obama did. And I read through this speech this morning um, and tried to make some notes, but of course you would have to read the speech very, very many times or watch the speech very, very many times, depending on the situation. And so after you have that first paragraph and you have a thesis statement, the very next thing that you would do in paragraph 2 is have a topic sentence that sort of utilizes the very first element. But again, remember, I think I said this previously, but remember all these different elements in whatever genre don't sort of work chronologically. Like here's the first, here's the second, whatever. They all sort of blur into one another. And so these typologies that Campbell Jameson are offering us isn't necessarily how it actually works out. I mean, magically within speeches. But the first, the first element, and thus the second paragraph probably would be something, a topic sentence like we see in President Obama's remarks about Libya, that he showcases his call for military action was the product of thoughtful deliberation, and have lots of examples. And there are tons of examples in there about how this, this was. There's nothing else that they can do. It starts pretty much that way. But if I didn't have this in the previous part of the lecture, I think one of the obvious parts is, at this point, the United States and the world faced a choice. Gaddafi declared he would show no mercy to his own people. He compared them to rats and threatened to go door to door to inflict punishment, blah, 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 blah. It was not in our national interest to let that happen. I refused to let that happen. And so 9 days ago, after consulting the bipartisan leadership of Congress, I authorized military action to stop the killing and enforce UN's Security Council Resolution 1973. But lots of stuff in there. So again, you would sort of say, here are some examples of discourses, of products, of thoughtful deliberation, examples from the speech, and whether you think those parts were effective. Second element, again, is use of narrative. And so whatever paragraph you're on, topic sentence, in whatever transition, whatever. Additionally, we can see that President Obama used narrative throughout his speech. For instance, and there's the whole speech pretty much is a narrative. It goes through this timeline. It goes back to the very beginning of the history. It goes back to Adam and Eve. For generations, the United States of America has played a unique role as an anchor of global security and as an advocate for human freedom. But, that's what happened. But when our interests and values are at stake, we have a responsibility to act. That's what happened in Libya over the course of these last 6 weeks. And so he sort of narrates the 6 weeks. Last month, blah, 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 blah. Blah, 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 blah. 10 days ago, blah, 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 blah. And then at this point, so, again, you would showcase examples and then say, whether you think they're effective or not. Element 3, exhortation to unified action. I thought that a lot of that stuff was toward the end of the speech. So again, showcases that this doesn't necessarily have to go chronologically. He talks about our most effective alliance, NATO, has taken command of the reinforcements, blah, 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 and that African United States play a supporting role, blah, 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 blah. Where is it? Talk about how to spot our issues. Blah, blah, blah. It talks about all these strategic interests. And lots of this stuff is to frame it. Let me close by addressing what this action says about the use of America's military power and America's broader leadership in the world under my presidency. As Commander-in-Chief, I have no greater responsibility than keeping this country safe. and it's all about, we are all together. Sometimes the course of history poses challenges that threaten our community, common humanity, and our common security. Blah, 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 blah. We should not be afraid to act. Real leadership. Blah, 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 blah. In a region that this America did not find enemies. Instead, yes, man. Blah, 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 blah. The voice is just one of many. There's all this stuff, yeah. So I'm doing a terrible job here, but there's lots of examples of bringing people together. We are taking a role in this, but this is the world against Gaddafi, not just America. And then, of course, the third element is investiture as commander-in-chief, and that's all over the place. He mentioned his role as commander-in-chief, his role as leader. He will not let stuff, terror come to the United States. So again, you'd have lots of different examples of that and show how you think it's effective. And then the last thing is sort of strategic misrepresentation. And, there might be some in here, there might be not. But notice what he does. What I thought was really, really quite interesting in here is that